Back on the Young Turks, Cenk and Ben with you. And I've got a great guest for you guys, former U.S. Army Colonel Andrew Bacevich. He's also the author of Washington Rules, America's Path to Permanent War. Colonel, welcome to the Young Turks.
Well, thanks for having me on the show.
We appreciate you coming on. You think we're on a path to permanent war. Why is that? And what's your case for it? Let me put it that way.
I mean, I think the basic argument is that if you want to understand why we have been in Iraq and why we are in Afghanistan, rather than citing the mistakes of one administration or the next, Bush, Obama, you need to go back to the period right after the Cold War and recognize that at that time, the United States committed itself to a particular approach to national security policy, and that it adheres to that approach down to the present day. And although it may once have worked in terms of keeping us safe and protecting our prosperity, it no longer does. Indeed, adherence to that national security consensus today is making us less safe and is squandering our economic well-being.
Why is it making us less safe, Colonel Bacevich?
Well, the essence of the national security consensus, first of all, is the assertion that the world's got to be organized and led and saved, and that's our job. And secondly, that the way to do that is through a particular approach to using military power, namely that the United States should maintain a global military presence, that we should configure our forces not to defend the country, but to create instruments of power projection, and that we should marry that presence and those power projection capabilities together to support a policy of global interventionism. My argument would be that it's quite clear since 9/11 that adhering to that paradigm is inciting greater anti-Americanism, particularly in the Islamic world, and is costing us enormous amounts of treasure that we simply can no longer afford to waste.
Colonel, I have a theory on that. I don't think people got together in a smoke-filled room and said, okay, let's just start more and more wars so you and I could make more money inside the defense contractor companies. But the results of their actions wound up leading to the policy you're talking about, whether it's funding think tanks or sending lobbyists in, or maybe most importantly, employing generals and colonels after they retire, so that everybody eventually has the same mindset as the defense contractors, which is, hey, war is good for business. Am I being unfair there, or do you think that makes a lot of sense?
I think you're being a little bit unfair, but your point is not entirely wrong. It's certainly not my argument that back in the late 1940s, a bunch of nefarious people got together in a smoke-filled room and said, how can we screw America in order to pour money in the direction of big corporations? I think given the circumstances that existed back, let's say, in 1947 or 1948, the terms of this national security consensus at that time, given the world that existed then, might have made sense. But we don't live in the world of 1947. There is no Soviet empire that threatens us. We no longer exist economically in a world in which we get all the money and we make all the stuff and the rest of the world comes to us as supplicants. So it's a different world today. The problem, I think, is that the pattern of behavior established in the 1940s became frozen, came to be habitual, and did over time come to benefit big corporations, admirals and generals, the institutions comprising the national security state, and therefore today these institutions that benefit from this status quo are unwilling to permit any critical scrutiny and are committed to preserving it, even though that national security consensus, as I suggested, no longer serves the interests of the country at large.
But Colonel Bacevich, that's almost exactly what I said.
By the way, you shouldn't call me colonel. I ain't been a colonel for 18 years. Just how about let's go with professor?
All right, Professor.
There you go.
Okay. But that's almost exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying there isn't a smoke-filled room, but it becomes this kind of consensus because and it's not just as simple as money. Yes, you're right. I mean, there's entrenched positions. They never change. There's the bravado of a politician saying, oh, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to go into war, etc. All those things are factors. But I think the most nefarious factor is that, and I mean it nefarious in that it becomes institutionalized, not that they make a conscious decision to do this, is that when they buy, and I'll say that way, they buy the generals and they buy the colonels. They say, all right, if you're good boys and girls, and you give me defense contracts when you're inside the Pentagon, then once you get out, you're going to get paid a lot of money. But if you're not a good boy or girl, you're not going to get paid a lot of money.
Again, I really don't think you're wrong. I think you just overstated a little bit. You're a bit too cynical. I mean, I think that somebody like General Petraeus, honestly and truly, believes that it is in the interest of the United States of America to persevere in Afghanistan, this war on the other side of the planet, which is now the longest war in our history. I think he is absolutely dead wrong. But I don't question that in his own mind he's doing the right thing. What I would say is that as a member of an institution that is committed to this national security consensus, General Petraeus and others like him really have a great difficulty in stepping outside of the frame of reference that they are used to, and therefore being able to take a critical look at a status quo which has long since become counterproductive. It's like asking me as a college professor to consider the possibility that sending young people to residential universities and colleges where they pay a ton of money, to ask me to consider that there might be a better way to educate young people. I mean, I am in this institution. I believe in the institution. I'm the last person to ask first-order questions about American higher education.
We do sort of rely on the military to tell us how important the military is.
Well, but that's part of the problem. I think that since one of the unintended consequences of the end of the draft and of the sort of celebration of the American military as the best among us is that we, the people, have tended to defer to Washington, to defer to people like General Petraeus, to tell us what makes sense. So we also, I think, as citizens, are falling down in our responsibility to demand a sort of accountability from Washington that Washington ought to be required to deliver.
All right. Well, that's an important voice in the discussion. So, Professor Bacevich, thank you so much for joining us. And the book, of course, is Washington Rules, America's Path to Permanent War.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.